Today I wanted to talk about food addictions, about overeating, about hiding and binging, about the fact that so many people have this addiction and yet they don't know what to do with it. They try to get rid of it, to stop it, and yet they go back to that behavior over and over again. And for some people, I know that they feel like it's never going to end. They make it about a diet. They make it about the food. They make it about the fact that there's something wrong about them, right? They make it about the fact that there's something wrong about that behavior itself. And so they fight it, and it gets worse and worse. And so in this video, I want to tell you that no, you can actually heal it. This is something that you can get over. And so this is the first thing. And the way to do that is by going towards it, by understanding that that behavior is not some nonsensical behavior that is happening randomly, but that behavior itself is telling you something about you. It's telling you, that behavior is telling you something about your needs. It's telling you something about certain wounds that you have, certain challenges that you have. And so by listening to it, by integrating it, you will be able to understand what is happening inside of you. You will start feeling more peace, and then you'll be able to heal this addiction, right? And so let's start from the beginning. The first thing I want you to, as you're going through this video, I want you to not only listen to it with your mind, but I want you to take in and bring in your experience of overeating. So I want you to go back to a moment where you felt the need to go hide and overeat. And I'm asking you to do that because when you start feeling into it, when you bring in that experience, you're actually starting the healing process. If you keep it only in your mind, if you're just here to take in information, then most of the time when we do that, it's because we're disconnected from our bodies, from ourselves, and then healing can't happen. So, when you go back to that moment, when you go back to a moment where you feel like going, there is this pull towards food, towards hiding. You just want to find that place where you hide and you want to eat. What is happening in that moment? What are you feeling? And you can stop the video and start seeing that. You can write it down. Maybe writing down, I say always about writing down because it's easier to be more impersonal. It's easier to write it down than just have it in your mind, right? Because it can be very triggering. So in that moment, what are the feelings that arise? What are the thoughts? In what state are you in that moment? And let me give you a few pointers, a few ideas so that you can go deeper into what is happening in that moment for you. So for example, in that moment when you think about going to that place, to that hiding spot, when you think about that spot, how do you perceive it? And maybe you see it as a cocoon. Maybe you see it as something very solid, something a small solid cocoon where you can hide, where you can feel safe. A place where you can be yourself. a place where you can be, when you can have things that you like, when you can do things aligned with your needs, your wants, your desires, right? Maybe it's a place where, oh my God, at last you feel pleasure, because somewhere else you're not feeling that, right? And so there is all this there. And maybe this cocoon, this place, is where you feel like you're in control. Because here you can do whatever you want. Here you can decide whatever you want. And it's based on you. It's not based on somebody else, on the way it should be, but it's really based on what you want. And so there's this feeling of freedom. There's a feeling of agency. There's literally this feeling of almost joy in that moment. There's that pleasure, right? And maybe when you go to that place, you also feel, or let me say it another way. When you eat, you feel like you have a certain control, like that food you can control, right? And that gives you a sense of, let's call it, temporary empowerment. And maybe when you're doing that and you're eating a lot, there's a sense of that your body, you have control over your body in that moment. Because elsewhere, you're not feeling that. You're not feeling any control. And maybe in this place, again, you can be just yourself. Because when you come out from that place, from that little solid cocoon, and you go towards life, everything seems so huge, so big. The rules, the regulations, they don't seem so clear to you. There's one clarity for you. It's that over there, there's life. Life is right. Life is always right, and life imposes things upon you. Life never asks you for what you want, who you are, right? Life never does that. What life does, it's imposing. It's imposition. And when you are here, as opposed to that, you need to become almost like air. You can't come, there's no solidity in you. You become like air because you have to bend in accordance to what life says. Right? You have to shape shift. You have to mold yourself. So you can't be solid. You have to be very, very flexible. So you've become so flexible that you're almost transparent. There's almost air in you. There's nothing solid there. You have no say in the matter. You don't feel any control here. It doesn't even come to you. When you're here, it doesn't even come to you that you could actually bring in your needs. You can, that you can assert yourself. It doesn't come for you. It's very obvious that you can't, and so you become automatically transparent. And this happens, it usually happens because in childhood, you had adults that knew better. They knew what you needed what you wanted. They knew what kind of life you had to live, the way you had to show up, who you are, everything. They knew better than you did. And so you never had the chance to show up as you are, to express yourself, to assert yourself. And so you learned to become completely transparent. You learned to become substanceless. And that's the way you've lived, right? Because nobody was there to teach you, to be there with you and to teach you what your boundaries are, who you are. Nobody was there to help you gain a sense of self. You've lost it. And so now when you are in relationships, you always have that fear that you are going to be swallowed by the other person. You come from the belief that you need to lose yourself in the other person. And that brings up a lot of fear in you. And one of the ways you try to deal with that is by always saying no. It's like you want to keep everyone outside. You'll always have very officially acceptable reasons why you need to keep them outside. The truth is that your fear, you have a very deep fear of getting lost in that other person, because that's how you've been living, right? There's this feeling that there's no substance in you, nothing for you to sit to anchor yourself in. Because that was the best way for you to survive as a child, to just be substanceless and to mold yourself in accordance to what they want, what they said. And so, as you feel this way, when you hide, when you go to this little cocoon, when you find that solidity and all of that, and when you decide, when you have that sense of, I have control over my body, I have control over food, it's not going to be snatched away from me, so let me eat quickly, because here I have control, there I won't have any control. So you see, this behavior is showing you what you're lacking and what you need to develop in yourself. What is needed in this moment to heal is that you become solid inside of you. This solidity that you're seeking, instead of making it a cocoon that at the beginning is fun, but at some point it becomes stifling, because that food is not going to be enough. That pleasure that you get there, is not going to be enough. It's going to frustrate you because there's so much more you want. And you just don't know how to get it. And it's so scary to go out here and get it. So you hide. And it's so confusing, right? Because you want something, you can't get it. And there's this powerlessness in which you spiral. So the whole idea here is for you to take these two elements in your life and bring it together. And what does that mean? It means that here you have this feeling of control, right? It's about agency. You want to have agency. So it's about taking that agency and bringing it into this life, into the outer life, right? And you do that by building solid sense of self. That solidity that you're seeking here, you build it inside of you. It's not going to be something where you hide, but it's going to be something inside of you on which you anchor on, right? And that sense of self is boundaries. It's about you learning your boundaries. And boundaries are your values. Boundaries are your desires. Boundaries are your emotions. Boundaries are your needs, your wants, your thoughts, your beliefs, and all that. All of these are your boundaries. And so it's about you becoming clear about them, building them inside of you. And then as they become stronger and stronger inside of you, then you can go out. And because you have that solid sense of self, as life comes in, you will know what to do, what to say, how to assert yourself. And then you'll have to change a couple of things, but you will be able to change and to navigate through life more easily because you have a strong sense of self. Right? And so, in the way you create your sense of self is through anger. And this is where I'm going to show you an exercise that you can do to build those strong boundaries. And why am I talking about anger? Anger is the guardian of your boundaries. Think about anger as a guard dog. And each time you're in relationship with another person or in a certain situation, the moment anger comes up, what anger shows, it's telling you, it's growling and it's snarling, etc., because it's saying boundary violation. There may be an intruder. We need to be careful. We need to be on guard or whatever, right? That's what it's saying. It's there to protect your boundaries. But in your case, the thing is that you may not be even connected with your anger at all. Because if you did, you would have strong boundaries. And so many times, people who have these food addictions and so on, they have their anger is repressed. They have no connection with that anger because they have repressed their boundaries, right? And so so what I want you to do is to start getting pissed off every day. Consciously getting pissed off. And to use that anger for two things. So number one is when you start getting angry, when you bring in consciously that anger towards you, what is going to happen is that all that anger that you haven't expressed, that you did not express until now, is going to come up. So when you have that food and you stuff yourself, you're stuffing all the emotions, all the anger and everything down. So what is happening is in that moment, you're bringing it out. And by getting angry consciously, by letting it out, you're letting all that energy, you're literally venting. There's a catharsis that is going to happen. A purge of all that stuffed down anger, all that stuffed down energy that is toxifying in you, and especially in your lower belly. It will come up in resentment, being preachy, judgy. You wake up in the morning and there's always that person that pisses you off and you're so judgmental against them and all that. That's all that anger that is trying to come out. So what you do is that you bring that person that you feel you're always obsessing over there. You're judging them, inside of you. But even if when you're preachy and judgmental, you're actually not letting yourself completely express that. So what you do is that if you can do it with another person, it's great, but not everyone will be able to handle that. So maybe at the beginning, it's best to do it on your own. Unless if it's a professional or people, again, who have done this work, they'll be great to do this work with. But otherwise, what you can do is put yourself in a place where you feel safe, where there's no one around, you're all alone there, and bring in consciously to your mind's eye the person that you always feel like you need to judge, right? Take them and just put them in front of you. Imagine that they're there. And now, everything that you wanted to tell them, say it. Just say it. Let it just come out. No censoring, no nothing. Just let it out. Whatever it is. If it's petty, it doesn't matter. It's going to be petty anyways. You will judge it as petty. You will judge it as, oh, this is not good, this makes me bad, etc. It doesn't matter. Just let it out. Judge them. Nobody's there anyways. They're not there. They're just in your mind's eye, right? And so let it out until you feel relief. And this you'll have to do over and over again, because there's a lot inside of you that you have repressed. And that's why you're eating. That food is stuffing it down. And it needs to come out. So you do this over and over again. If you can do it every day for a long period of time, a period of time that is needed, the more you do it, the easier it's going to get, the shorter it will get. These exercises will become shorter and shorter, you will see. But you will see that you'll start judging one person, and the second one will come up, a third one, and because all this is coming up, right? And I want you to do it until you feel relief. Then you can go doing something else, and then you can redo that exercise later on or the next day. As you do the exercise, I want you to do it with your voice. Don't make it silently. I want you to unleash your voice. And this is very important, because it's here that the addiction is. And it's here because your truth has been stuffed down. Because you haven't been able to say things, to tell your truth, to let it out. And so by unleashing your voice, by being loud, you're letting it out. You're letting that voice talk, come out of that imprisonment. And that will also give you relief, right? And it's going to be pleasurable. It's the pleasure that you're getting from the food that you're going to get very naturally by expressing yourself, by letting yourself be free to be you. And then afterwards, what will happen is that you will start seeing that the more you express your anger, and again, it can be blame, you can, if you want, insulting people, whatever it is, let it out. Shouting, whatever, let it out. As you do that, what will happen is you will start seeing that there are certain things that you don't like about that person. And at the beginning, you made it about them. You wanted them to correct themselves. You wanted them to change. But as you go deeper, you'll start seeing that, maybe it's that they have a certain value that you don't like, a certain value that clashes with your value. And because you haven't been able to express your value, to stand by your value, which is a boundary, then you went into judging them, into trying to correct them so that they could let you bring out your value. You see? But in the moment that you start becoming aware of your value, you start standing by it, then automatically there is a freedom because you're solid in it. And now suddenly you may decide that maybe with this person you will interact in a certain way because this value is not compatible. You don't have compatible values. And maybe you will interact only in specific areas of your life and not in others. And maybe you'll find out, no, their values is a red flag for you. So you can't interact with that person. And now, because you're clear about it, you'll go and find people who have the same values as you, who honor your values. Right? And this will come out. Behind the anger, it will start coming out. And you will see your desires will come out. What you want, the way you want to live life, what you want to build, what type of relationships you want. These are all things that are very specific to you. And nobody else can tell you that but you. You can only find out in you. And you can find out through these interactions. And anger is going to help you understand them. And anger at some point will be an ally that is always going to alert you to the fact that, there is alarm. There is a boundary that may be violated with this person in this interaction. And it will tell you, but because you'll have a better relationship, a closer relationship with anger, you will have that guard dog next to you that will help you. And so really try to work with that anger. I know that for many people this is going to be hard. But the empowerment, the freedom you're going to feel in that moment. And you can do it even with music. You put on music and shout. Don't listen. There are certain songs that, talk about anger, about expressing anger. But most people listen to them with their inside, and they don't move. You need to move. You need to unleash your voice. You need to bring it out. Anger needs movement. Right? So let me stop it here. Let me just say that if you have these issues, if you overeat, if you stuff yourself with food and all that, it is because you think you can't show up as you are. It is because you don't have a sense of self. It is because you don't feel safe to be yourself. And use anger. Start using anger as a way to build a sense of self, as a way to know who you are, what you want to create in this life. And as you do that, you will see that need to overeat will just go away. It will go away because the moment you have a sense of self, it has no purpose in your life. So you don't have to change your diet. You don't have to go against eating. You don't have to tell yourself, now I'll stop eating. Don't go there. Don't focus on the food. Don't focus on the overeating. It's a symptom. You focus on that, it's going to get worse. And I'm sure you've already experienced that. Don't focus at all. Just let it be. Okay, I'll overeat. And you'll overeat as much as you'll overeat. Give yourself that freedom. Focus on creating boundaries. Focus on working with your anger. Focus on the hurt that will come up, the sadness and all that. Focus, take it in. Create solid boundaries and it will go away. And if you want to work personally with me, then I'd love that. There's a link down below. And if you have any questions, any comments, let me know down below.